Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. And today's video comes out of New York State, and I'm going to leave a link to the article in the description box so you can read the entire article for yourself, but I'm just going to give you my commentary on the article. I chose this article because this article deals with an issue that is extremely important, especially if you are a parent or a caregiver of a young child, especially a baby. And it talks about how, according to studies that have been done, that some parents are not charged with crimes when they leave their children in the car and they die, and some parents are charged with crimes. But should it actually be considered a crime if it was an accident? So the article points out, it is concentrating on a case that happened a couple of weeks ago where a man, he was taking his children to daycare and then he was going to go to work. Well, he had a 4-year-old and a set of twins. He dropped the 4-year-old off at daycare, but he went straight to work because for some reason he thought that he had dropped the twins off also at daycare. He worked a full day as a social worker at the Bronx Hospital, and he actually called his wife to tell her to go pick the kids up. But when he walked to his car, he saw his 2 dead kids in the back seat, still in their car seats. So he's devastated. The family's devastated. Everybody's devastated around this. The community is sticking by him, and they even have a GoFundMe. So I guess my dilemma comes in is, how do you forget that you have a child in the car? I don't understand that. Now, the article talks about other cases. In 2014, there was a case where a man, he left his child in the car and they died. And one was a police officer. In 2016, a police officer left his child in the car and they died. And it's like they just get out the car and go on about their day, forgetting that a baby's in the car. So I said to myself, is that even humanly possible to forget that you have a human being in the car? Well, I may not know the answer to that question because I have raised kids, but I can honestly say I have never forgotten that they were in the car. As a matter of fact, when they're infants, I'm a little bit more on high alert because I want to make sure they're okay in the back of the car. And if they're too quiet, then, I'm constantly checking on them. Not to mention that while I'm driving, I'm constantly looking in my mirrors, in my rear view mirror, side view mirrors. I have to see them in the car. There's no way around it. So I don't understand how he did not know that he didn't drop the children off. He thought he did drop the 4-year-old. He remembers that. But in some way, he thinks that he remembers dropping his twins off. Well, there's a doctor in the article that explains that it can happen and that it is possible. That you can forget to do things because you're in such a routine. And I can kind of believe that when it comes to certain things. Like, I know when I drive to work or I drive to certain places, especially if I do it every day, I may not remember how I got to a certain place because out of routine, I guess my body, I just know that I go the same route every day. But leaving a baby in a car when you have to use mirrors to drive and the car seats are bulky, I don't know. There's an organization called kids.org. They did a study on cases. I believe it was 833 cases where kids were left in the car and they died. Out of those 833 cases, over 400 of those cases were parents who said that they forgot that their children were in the car. So, this must be a real thing. 494 people said that they forgot. Or maybe they all lying. I don't know. I don't understand how you can forget. So of the 494 cases, or 494, Some of the parents were prosecuted. Some of them were not. Some of them were, and they were prosecuted and convicted. Some were prosecuted and were not, and they did not get convicted by a judge or a jury. So what I learned from reading the article is when it comes to children accidental deaths, or with the parent, if the parent claims an accidental death, it's up to the prosecutor to use their own judgment to determine if there was intent to harm the child. And they have examples in the article showing it both ways, where prosecutors have found intent and where they did not. But in one case, it was as simple as a judge looking at a parent's reaction when she saw that her baby was dead in the car. And based just on him looking at her reaction, he determined that she did not have intent. So this is a very tough topic, but it's an important one. My personal feelings about the topic is that if you have a baby in your care and you leave your child in the car and they die, there should be some type of accountability. You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be a felony crime, but it has to be something that you're held accountable for, because that is a vulnerable human being that is relying on you to take care of them, and they died in your care. Now, there are some tips that kids.org gives and State Farm gives, and I'm gonna put a slide on this video. And one of the tips is, and I just thought this was, it's a good tip, don't get me wrong, but it's crazy because it lets us know where we set priorities. They say to put your cell phone in the back with the kids. Put your briefcase in the back with the kid. Put something of importance in the back with the kid, so when you get out, because we know we could never leave our cell phones in a car. We could never leave our purses in a car. We will be forced to go back and get those items. So I'm thinking, okay, we do value those things, but we value our children even more. So what it's basically saying to me is that we put more value on things than we do on the infants. But it was a great tip, because that is true. You're not going to get out your car unless you have certain things. And you will remember to get those things out of the car. So, sit them back there with the children. So anyway, that's my thought about the article. Please read the article. Let me know your opinions and thoughts, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.